Have you ever wondered whether United Nations employees have to pay any taxes in Canada? Are you a Canadian resident working for the United Nations or one of its affiliates? If so, you're probably wondering about what your tax filing obligations are. Generally speaking, any income that you earn from the United Nations can be received on a tax-free or tax-reduced basis in Canada. This will depend on the specific convention between the United Nations and that specific country. There are different rules to follow depending on whether your employment is directly with the United Nations or one of its affiliate bodies. To be considered an employee of the UN, you must have a clear written employment agreement with the United Nations. However, this situation may be further complicated if you work for the UN abroad. In this case, the Canada Revenue Agency will have to assess whether you are a resident or a non-resident of Canada by examining your personal, family, and economic ties to Canada. If you are deemed to be a non-resident of Canada, then the United Nations Tax Convention with Canada will not apply to you, and you will not be liable for Canadian income taxes on your UN earnings. If you are deemed as a resident of Canada, then the income earned from the UN can be exempted from tax right here in Canada. When completing your Canadian tax return as a resident of Canada, report the amount you received from the United Nations on line 104 of your income tax return. Also, report the same amount on line 256 as a tax deduction. This line is called income exempt from a tax treaty. In summary, Canadian residents working for the United Nations must still file a Canadian tax return and report their UN earnings. However, a careful analysis must be done of the Income Tax Act to see if you qualify for a deduction on line 256. If you like this tip and want to know more, drop us a comment below or visit madanca.com. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so we can bring you great tax tips every week.